Good afternoon and welcome to Dunedin's Mount Kettle course for four-wheel drive. While the rest of the country gets drenched, it's a beautifully fine day here. The course comprises 19 hazards or obstacle tracks, 11 of which are graded with varying difficulty. They have an excellent mix of vehicles, some traditional, some built-up specials and some hybrids. And there's really no clear favourite. Grant Gifford and Ken Fenson are from Ngaruawa here. The vehicle's a 78 Land Cruiser with mildly tweaked engine and running LPG. Brett O'Brien and his wife Karen to co-drive Zook, which is a Suzuki LJ80 with huge American mud tyres. My pick on this course, John Cowper and his wife Nonnie in the cleverly home-built Pt1 powered by a Subaru 1600 engine. Another husband and wife team run this Suzuki LJ80. They're Don and Joan Cameron from Turakina. Mud Scuttler's another of the popular Suzukis, this one an LJ50 with driver Warren Stratford and co-driver Derek Harris from Nelson. Owen Larson and his wife Sharon from Paraparaumu are the hot competitors in Hot Gossip, another Suzuki. The most interesting vehicle is Mighty Mouse, a 650cc centrally hinged Haflinger driven by Levin's Sid Darth and his wife Shirley. Buddy is the appellation bestowed on Ray Pawley's modified Land Cruiser. He's a local bulldozer contractor teamed with Wayne Tuck. This is Hazard 4 and Distraction. Don Cameron, the driver. A mud plug, it's supposedly relatively straightforward. They say there are no hidden traps in there. Now the first competitor through. Don Cameron. His wife Jan Cameron, husband and wife team, that's it for them. The Suzuki LJ80 1981. See if John Cowper has a little more luck at Hazard 6. John and his wife Nonnie from Turakina in the homemade Pt1 with a 1600 Subaru engine. And they're through. And into Hazard 5, a graded hazard again, a steep drop into a small water hole, and this one has a choice of exits, and that choice will dictate the number of points for the hazard. Have a look at the exit. You can see there are a number of possible routes and a number of options. That's a failure. Bob Dickinson at Hazard 6. Toyota Land Cruiser. Wee Hummer is the name of this one. Dickinson and Gary Vandermark from Dunedin. This is Charles Benson at Hazard 16. Plenty of revs to get up there. And you can't see the top of this hazard, by the way, even without the dust. But he's up. Brett O'Brien, competitor number 16. This is Hazard 4 again. We think this is the one that's going to give them some problems today. It looks relatively straightforward, just a mud plug, but as has been said before, easier said than done. Brett and Karen O'Brien from Kawerau seem to manage that all right. Ken Buchanan in the Jeep. This is Hazard 6. Very cautious approach to it. And very sensibly through it. Neil Bloxall. The only missing patrol here today. Getting just slightly outdated. this kind of competition now. Brett and Karen O'Brien from Kawerau, hazard 6. This one you've got to be fairly cautious in and then get on the gas when you're in. The revs build as they get in there, don't want to bog it down, a little underpowered. And you must stop with the wheels astride that blue peg. Must be between the front and the rear. This again is hazard 4. You can see just how difficult it is when you get in there, even with four-wheel drive. Very muddy on the bottom, and the more vehicles that go through, the more difficult it will become unless they can take some of the water out of it. This is hazard 8. And Brett O'Brien and his wife again. The Suzuki LJ80. This one's a 79 model. Standard motor, locking diffs, independent brakes front and rear, and 10-inch American mud tyres. Certainly one of the favourites today. This husband and wife pairing seems to be a popular thing for husband and wife to do. Good recreation. And of course you've got to place a lot of faith in the co-driver. There's a lot of little levers that they've got to operate, as we'll explain as the day goes on. Neil Bloxall again in hazard 6. Very cautious approach. Where these vehicles have locking differentials or independent wheel brakes, the co-driver operates those and must do so, of course, in conjunction with the driver who's operating the gas pedal and the clutch and the rest of the bits and pieces. So it does require very close teamwork. Now this is John Krupa at hazard 18.
During the day, I think that the competition is going to be...
He already has accumulated 80 points at hazard number 5, so he can't really afford any more. The lowest number of penalty points is the winner. And quite happily through, John Krupa. Here's one of the more interesting vehicles in the field today. This is Sid Darth, again driving with his wife. It's a 650cc twin-cylinder Haflinger, originally made for the Austrian Army as an off-road vehicle. It hinges in the middle and can pivot up to 40 degrees, which of course is an enormous advantage, much more travel than you would get with normal suspension. Here's Grant Gifford at hazard number 6. He's just lost 90 penalty points at hazard 5. He was sharing the lead at one stage. You'll notice how they stop with the front and rear wheels and the blue marker peg between them. Very strict about that, and on the starts as well. Here's John Cowper with wife Nonnie, my favourites, and doing very well already. But not here. Hazard 4 again. It seems like hazard 4 is the one that's going to trip them up. Looks innocuous. Here's Grant Gifford again. This is hazard 8. That completes his round for him, assuming he gets to the top, which he does. 210 for the round. Keeps him in touch with the leaders. Here's Evan Gosney. This is hazard 18 again. But he already has over 300 points, so not really in contention. Strange that the vehicle that once dominated this kind of competition, the Land Rover, is often not even in the hunt at these competitions, unless repowered or modified substantially. Brian Galland needing a pull Again out of hazard 4, that seems to be the one that's tripping them up. He in fact has only incurred 20 penalty points at this hazard, which is a graded one. And that's enough to give him 400 for the round so far. There's plenty of time left, I'm sure, to talk about regaining his position, but he's well behind the 8 ball at the moment. Here's Owen Larson. This is hazard 6, which so far today has been relatively easy. He already has 200 penalty points. See just how much these vehicles get modified to lighten them, and there are some of the levers that the co-driver has to operate for independently locking brakes or the front and rear differentials. Grant Gifford, another to attempt hazard 4. Haven't had too many through here today. The LPG-powered Land Cruiser. And he's made it. Well done, Grant Gifford. 120 penalty points, so he's well in touch with the leaders. That's Brian Galland, sitting in the water there. They have many bulldozers standing by with tow ropes at the ready, but there's no way you don't get wet in this kind of competition if you're the co-driver. You'll notice when they get to the end of some of these little water traps, as we'll call them, they open the doors and water pours out. There's no way you stay clean. John Budd, hazard 4 once again. Let's see if this trips him up. Seems that the ride height has something to do with whether or not you can clear this hazard. Toyota Land Cruiser is a little higher off the ground than most of the Suzukis. Of course, the Land Rover. Co-driver madly shaking, trying to get some more traction. Turning the wheel from side to side, nothing's going to work for them. Call it a day. This is hazard 18, and as you'll see, one or two of the drivers like to go up and have a prior look to see exactly what it's like at the top, because, of course, on many of the uphill ones you can't see. Here's Sid Darth again in the little Haflinger. He has less power than anybody else on the course today. Just a 650cc engine. Has 200 penalty points for the round so far. He was supposedly one of the favourites because of the pivotal ability of this vehicle, splitting in the middle. Here's Grant Smith at hazard 18. The Suzuki seem to have been able to get up the uphill bits reasonably easy. This one powered by a Datsun 1200 engine. They pull very good revs, although they're a pushrod engine, not overhead cam, and seems to adapt quite well to the Suzuki, normally 1000cc. Here's Ray Pauly, the Dunedin bulldozer contractor. Quite accustomed to off-road driving. In hazard 3. Slowly on the way up. Has he lost it or has he not? Only 160 penalty points to date. He won't be terribly pleased with this. That's hazard 4, and somebody else has come unstuck already. Toyota Land Cruiser about to be righted. And while they were writing that, we decided to go and have a try ourselves at hazard number 14.
We're at the start of 14. We've got to start with the front hubs behind the blue marks. Into it now, on the gas, hard down on the pedal. In second gear, low ratio, very bumpy in here. On the gas again. About 3/4 gas through here. Right on it, pushing hard down, and we must stop with the front and rear hubs in between. the blue markers.
And Sid Darth in the Haflinger, Mighty Mouse. 200 penalty points so far. Really needs to go clear here. Just a tiny little tub for Sid and his wife to sit in. And just have a look at the pivotal motion of that vehicle as it gets through the rough stuff. Particularly good uphill. Looks light enough to float here. If anybody's going to get through, he should, even if it's like a paddle steamer. Going for the right-hand side to try and get some more traction. He's lost forward motion. Ah, well, Sid Darth, I'm sure, is not having the kind of day he expected to have when he came here. Beautifully prepared, this little machine. It's a graded hazard, and he has got past the first portion of it, so he'll only incur 20 penalty points. But really, that's the hazard that has been tripping up a lot of people today. Sid Darth spends an enormous amount of time preparing this vehicle. He's a service manager. So I guess he might work in the odd morning tea time as well. Sid Darth about to find out the bad news from the marshal as Ray Pauly has a look at the track for his run coming up. Just making sure that they can get through, or where's the best line to get through. Provided you're within the pegs, you don't have to take the same line as the other people did. Part of the skill of this is being able to work out where you can get traction and get through. One or two vehicles get hot as well. That's a problem with the mud accumulating on the front of the radiator. Here is Ray Pauly back in the vehicle, ready to give it a go. Being a bulldozer driver and a contractor around this area, he does spend a lot of time off the road. Experience is a big thing. Oh, he's gone too far to the right there, and he's lost it over. Ray Pauly has stuck it almost on the lid. Of course, they have a roll cage, so they should both be okay. They're wearing seat belts and with the big roll cage. But I think he may have damaged, just looking at the vehicle as it came through. I noticed both front wheels were still turning until the inside one dug in and it stopped abruptly. He might have damaged some transmission components there. Let's just have another look at the replay. He opted to go hard to the right, where he thought it was better ground. Just got the front right-hand wheel too far up, both turning at this stage. Now have a look as that left-hand one digs in. Really did stop abruptly. I think he'll be lucky if he hasn't broken either a CV joint or damaged the differential. But Ray Pauly and his crew have some spares here, and doubtless they'll, with the help of a few spectators, get it back and fixed. Spent an enormous amount of time in preparation, but bad luck for Ray Pauly. He has a good crew with him. Very good mechanics. So if they have damaged anything, one assumes they'll be able to get it fixed and continue with the rest of the afternoon's competition. There's somebody else in trouble already and waiting for the tow. More than one bulldozer here to tow people out, but not enough to cover all the hazards. Now have a look at that front left-hand wheel. It's not turning at all. The right-hand one is, so I suspect the drive shaft has jammed up in there, or a constant velocity joint. Hazard 14. Richard Pascoe and Graham Finneran from Christchurch threw that one quite happily in the Land Rover. Let's try to see how deep the water is and see if there are any mechanical components left in there from the odd person that's got stuck. Happily, it's a nice day in Dunedin here. One way to find out, I guess, just how deep it is. Somebody getting a push start at the top of the hill. Ready to go with Sid Darth in the Haflinger again. 221 points for the round so far. There's Grant Gifford. He's got 210 points. Just trying to sort through this points table here. Grant Gifford actually not too far away, about 4th place at the moment. Long way to go yet, though. 2 complete rounds to be run on this course today.
Thought this was dry Southland.
The next one of which you will see